Hi there, welcome. Thank you for joining me. Okay, I can see some people are already here and more people are joining. This is wonderful. I hope everyone is having a good time of the day. I am definitely having a great morning here in Melbourne. Let me know if you can see and hear me well, or if anything is wrong, maybe with the sound. I had a few hiccups with my computer when I was setting up, so let me know if anything is not working. You can send me messages or questions in the Q&A section. It should be available for you in the Q&A section on your screen, so you can type up questions or messages for me. Graziella is saying all good for me here. Where are you, Graziella? Let me know. And thank you very much for joining me. And Joanne says all good. She can see and hear me well. And Graziella is in Sydney. I hope the weather is great in Sydney. We really are in the winter now here in Melbourne. It's raining and very, very cold. All right, I can see more people joining. This is wonderful, but I'm happy to start our new workshop today. And Joanne is in Sydney as well. But I hope some people from the United States can join me. I think it's the evening for the East Coast, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, we are talking today about the invoicing and using Zanda for your invoicing workflows, and more specifically about how to never chase invoices, how to never remind your clients yourself about unpaid invoices, how to never call them, how to never have those embarrassing situations to say, hey, actually, you haven't paid for your previous sessions yet. So let us talk about that. Let us talk about how to set up your Zanda account so that Zanda does this embarrassing work for you and you are working on a more joyful experiences and you are actually caring about your clients, working on how to make their lives better. And Zanda is doing that work of reminding about unpaid invoices, and hopefully you have less and less of those. And then Zanda also can help you to send the receipts for those invoices that have been paid in full automatically, and we will cover that as well. So the agenda for today is actually, we will start actually with creating the communication templates, because the word automation, I talk about it a lot in our workshops, and maybe it doesn't make much sense what is automation, but actually this is how to use the communications feature in Zanda automatically, how to send those emails and SMS messages automatically, how for you not to type them up and not to send them manually, how Zanda does that for you. And also we will talk about how to set up those automatic communication reminders for unpaid invoices, how to send receipts automatically once the invoice is paid in full, and it can be paid by a client online with the Stripe integration, or it can be you recording that direct deposit that came through to your bank feed, or it can be by you processing the Stripe payment on the Zanda screen when the client was in a telehealth session and you finished the session and you just processing the payment for them because you have their credit card details saved in your Stripe account and in your Zanda account. So we would cover those cases, and I will also maybe explain you how those automation conditions work, what are the little tips and tricks that might not be clear from the first glance. So we will cover all those things today. And of course, some of you have already submitted the questions for me, what you are expecting from this session, what is not clear, what you are hoping to learn today. But again, as I am talking and showing you around Zanda and how to set these things up, and if more questions come up, please type them in the Q&A section, and at the end, after I demo the things for you, we will have the Q&A session and we will discuss what else is not clear for you. So hopefully the questions you're asking me are about the things that we are discussing. And if you have anything else that is you're curious about, we have a wonderful support team who are offering free online sessions, who are happy to catch up with you in one-on-one video sessions to help you. But yeah, if you have any pressing questions, type them up, and if I don't have the time to answer them today, we will definitely get back to you. So anyway, let us start with creating those communication templates, which we will then be using to set up those automated reminders for unpaid invoices and for the sending receipts when the invoices are paid. Okay, yeah, Cassandra, I can see your question, and I'll be, make sure to answer this today for you. Okay, wonderful. So let me switch to my demo screen, and we will start. Wonderful. So we are starting with setting up our automation communication templates, and we will go here to the templates settings. We have quite a few already available for you. So if you started your account roughly in the past year, you already have them pre-set up. You can see that automation. Here they are. Let me search by invoice keyword. There are quite a few of them. So you can see paid invoice, receipt email, paid invoice, receipt link SMS. So we will be using those. Outstanding invoice SMS, unpaid invoice email. So these are the templates that we preset for you. Let's have a look inside one of them. If you don't see them in your account, it could be that your account is a bit older, but for those cases, we have an article in the knowledge base where we have all those templates are still available. I have linked that article in the email that you will receive with the replay link of this workshop so that you can have a look. But I will also show you how you can easily create your own communication templates now, so that you actually, it's good to have more than one, because we will be setting up more than one communication automation for different scenarios. For example, you might want just to send one reminder after the invoice is due to pay, but also you might want to use another reminder when it's overdue, and it uses a different tone, like it's more urgent, it's more sort of more pushing a client to pay that invoice. All right. Dawn is asking, can we update them to Zanda template because mine are all from Power Diary? Well, definitely yes, but you'll have to do it yourself, Dawn. We can't actually sort of get into your account and do the updates for you, so you'll have to update them yourself. It's like this: you open that invoice and you just, whenever you see Power Diary, please update them to Zanda. Okay, so what I have here is the unpaid invoice email, and that's what it looks like. So make sure you have your email from name, that it's clear that's your business name. The email from address, that will be the address the client will reply to if they want like a reply to this email address. Make sure that the subject is clear what this email is about. That's all. These three fields on the right are what the clients will see when they receive this email. The fields on the left are for your internal use. This is for you when you're looking through the list of templates that you have, so that they make sense for you, what they are about. And now the content, this is what interests us as well. So this is what the clients will see when they receive that email. And these dynamic fields, the merge fields, what will personalize that message. So the recipient preferred name, I highly recommend that you use the recipient dynamic field, because you might, your invoices may be set up to be paid not just by client, but they may be paid by a contact, by their parent, for example, or by a third party, NDIS provider, a work cover provider, any other type of insurance provider, school maybe paying their invoices, and so on. So the payer may be not the client. So the client first name or client preferred name might not work well here. So always use the recipient preferred name so that it looks professional and matches the person who received that email. Now, the links that will actually link that invoice to the message, that's also very interesting and good to know. The invoice PDF link actually links the invoice in connects the invoice as a link, and when the client, recipient clicks that, it is a link in the invoice, and when they click it, they will open an invoice in their browser with the button to download. That's what it works like. What other merge fields are available? Let's have a look. Again, let me type, search it by the invoice keyword. And the merge fields that I recommend to use with automations are, so the invoice PDF link, we just saw that. It just connects as a link to download a PDF. Another one is invoice pay link. This one I recommend if you are integrated with Stripe for online payment links. And this will, again, merge a link which will allow the clients, when they click, to pay as an online payment, but also to download a PDF of that invoice as well. So even if you are not connected with Stripe yet, you can still use this merge field. It will still allow them to download a PDF. So there is, nothing horrible will happen if you use this merge field and you're not connected with Stripe. It will still work, but it gives an additional advantage of using online payments when you integrate it with Stripe. And another one which works awesome with automations is this one, the invoice PDF attachment. This is for those payers, those recipients who are very afraid of clicking links. They say, we're not clicking any links, please send us attachments, file attachments. So use these merge fields in those cases. And this merge field actually attaches a file for that invoice. So these three fields, use them in your templates for invoice automations. And all these three fields will work for unpaid invoices and for receipt templates. Wonderful. So we've discussed the merge fields, and we are now looking at our different types of templates. So this one is pretty neutral, pretty general. Please click the link to view and pay your invoice. And the clients can choose to pay online if you are connected with Stripe, or they can choose to download and pay through direct deposit, or they can come and pay if they ever do that to practice, right? Or I assume if they come and see you face to face, they probably just pay at the counter. What we will do, what I also want to do, is to show you how to create a different template for example, for the cases when the invoice is overdue. So for the sake of saving time, let me clone the unpaid invoice email so that we have a copy. And we'll just make it sound a bit more urgent. So that it sort of puts a little more pressure on the client. Urgent, overdue invoice payment reminder. This is the subject. And now what I'll do, I will ask AI write. Like this. Yeah, so I'll prompt AI to make this message sound more urgent. Thank you for your questions. I will definitely answer them. Okay, let's see what it generated. Okay, it's very nice, but okay. Earliest convenience. The last time I tried, it was sort of threatening them that we will stop providing you services if you don't pay. But okay, let's go with the kind one this time. Okay. And we will also rename this overdue unpaid invoice email. Okay. Awesome. So we have now a different invoice reminder template, and let's go with that one. So here you are welcome to have as many communication templates as you need for each of your use case. You can have one to send 1 day after the invoice is due, the next one, for example, 7 days after the invoice is due, and next one is 14 days when it's overdue. And you can send them, then set up your automation reminders for each of these days. And let us do this now. So for that, we will go to our account settings. And in the communication section, we will select automations. And here, let us add a new automation. Let's say invoice reminder 1 day. Okay, so now the important thing is to select invoicing automation type. Here, so that you don't forget, we give you this reminder about which invoice merge fields to use, invoice PDF link and invoice PDF attachment. These are the two main merge fields that we recommend that you use for your invoices. And as I said, invoice pay link is to use with the Stripe. Okay, so we select conditions unpaid. In this case, yes, we are now setting up our unpaid invoices automation. And now we want to select how many days after invoice is due. We will set up those. So let's select the one for 7 days after the invoice is due. And now all these automation conditions help you to narrow down which payers will receive those reminders. Why did I say it should be 7? Okay, so for example, these reminders will only go to your clients who are who have their sessions in telehealth, because your clients who are in person, they always pay because they are in person. They come to your practice, they leave the room, and they pay at the reception. So we are only sending this to the telehealth clients. We only send this to our active clients, and we only send this to our telehealth only clients, and only to adults, like these ones. We don't send, for example, to our write-off invoice clients because we don't work with them anymore, for example. And only one practitioner, because only this practitioner works with our telehealth clients. So I'm showing you how you can really target the clients or the payers who will receive those invoice reminders. You can also narrow these down by your services so that, for example, your bulk bill clients will not receive those reminders while you're processing your bulk bill sessions, because they're not paying for those services, but their invoices might be overdue while you're processing those invoices, but they won't be. So just don't select the bulk bill consultation services, and that reminder won't shoot for them, right? So let's just select all our telehealth services, and there you go. This way, if we set up the reminder to go only for those specific types of invoices. And we will select the actions. So which will we use? Let's start with an email. Let's select invoice, and we will just select our more sort of neutral automation unpaid invoice email reminder. We can also assume that not all clients really check their email that often. It's high chance they might not check their email very often. They might overlook that. So I may also want to select an SMS template, and I will select my SMS reminder as well and save. Excellent. And now let us also set up the overdue invoice reminder for the same type of clients, right? So this one will go 14 days after the invoice due date. So this is really overdue. So for those who haven't paid 7 days after and haven't paid more days after that, right? I just quickly set up all of that. We want to send our more sort of strict email reminder after that. So just all our telehealth services, we're sending them an email, which is an overdue unpaid invoice email. We're sending them an SMS again. Oh, sorry, SMS. And what else we can do? We can set up a task for us, for the team. With a note what we are supposed to do, so that the task will pop up here in the task panel, and you can actually do this unpleasant task of chasing and calling the client, maybe just to see if they really haven't paid even after those reminders. You don't have maybe to call them on that day, for day 14, after they received the SMS and the maybe 2 days after, right? So you can call the client after they've received the second email and the SMS 2 days after the call. So let me open that as well. Overdue invoice reminder. Yeah. So you can add the task for your team to check if they've actually paid after the second reminder. So that's an extra layer of control and extra layer and making sure that they've actually paid. Let me double check if I covered everything I wanted to say here. Okay, so a little bit of tips and tricks of how these automations behave. So the job, the system job, the automatic job runs at 2 p.m. your local time every day. So the system checks the invoices every day at 2 p.m. and all the invoices that match this criteria at that time, the job starts and the system generates these messages and they start sending after 2 p.m. every day. So between 2 and 2:30 or 3 p.m. your local time, depending on how many messages there are, they will be sending. So if you want to check what has been sent, you can start like check around 3 p.m. your local time. After the email or SMS with the invoice has been sent, what will happen? I'll jump here. So for example, probably this one is better. So the invoice email will pop up here. It means that invoice has been emailed to the client or to the payer of that invoice. So you know, the invoice has been sent to the payer of this email. So you'll know. If you also want to check, you can go to the list of invoices in that client profile, and it will have emailed record. So you know, invoice has been sent. There will be a record in the invoice log for this client, also sent by automation. So again, the record will be there. It will be logged in the email activity report as well. So lots of checks and logs will be made by the system that the automation has worked. For that. Obviously, the payer of the invoice receives that automation. So if it's the third party will receive that email or SMS with that invoice. If it's the contact will receive that email with that invoice. Speaking about contacts, if a child, for example, client receives or pays those invoices, is set up as a payee child, maybe, I don't know, the teenager, right? But their contact needs to receive that a duplicate of that communication for the automations. So once you've connected their contact to the child, to the client, you can enable that automation switch here just to send the copy of all the automation communication, including the invoicing communication as well. And one more important thing. When you set up the invoicing automation for the first time in your account, this system job will check all invoices in your account, and it will work even for like the backdated invoices as well. So if you have a large backlog of unpaid invoices, they will be sent out as well. So it's worth knowing that, so that, for example, I don't know if you have 200-300 unpaid invoices. I hope that you don't, but if you do, they will be sent out as well. So it's worth knowing that this will happen. But automations do not work for archived clients. So if you have archived client with unpaid invoices, those will not be sent. So this is all about the unpaid invoices. Let me see. I'll have a look at your questions. Can Zanda distinguish between automated invoices? Can Zanda distinguish between automated creation of invoices for B2C clients only, and not create invoices for my B2B clients who pay me via a separate website? I think yes, Tanya, if you use those conditions that I showed you in the automation settings. So if you distinguish them either by the status, type, classification, or by service, so you can definitely set up automation this way and only send invoices to one group of your clients and not send to the other group of your clients. All right. Okay, so now let's have a look at the receipts, right? The automation for receipts. It's very similar. We will also use the invoicing automation, but in this case, we will use the paid condition. And again, we are just using all the same conditions. So it can go, for example, again, you might be giving receipts to your in-person clients when you are serving them in person. So we just, for example, use only telehealth clients. Could be different setup in your case, but I'm just demonstrating you how this can be done. Active clients, private clients only. You might not be sending receipts to your NDIS, work cover, insurance payers at all. Client classification, only adults, to all practitioners, and service, again, to some services only. And then the action type, email, and you will select your paid invoice receipt email and save, and that's it. This is it. So as soon as your invoice is paid in full, so it could be your clients who pay the deposit, then they come to the session, and then they pay the remaining balance, or you process their invoice payment using the card that you have saved in their profile, and you use the Stripe integration. You process their payment after the telehealth session, and the system sends the receipt automatically, because you set up this this automation this way. And it's not, and the other fully paid invoices that do not match these conditions, they are not sending the receipt. Okay, anything else on my notes? The difference with the unpaid invoicing automation is that this automation works immediately. It doesn't wait 2 p.m. your local time. As soon as invoice is fully paid and it matches the other conditions, it sends automatically. Okay, let me have a look at some other of your questions. How to prevent creation of an invoice for a B2B client, as opposed to late invoice reminders, please. Okay, I understand now. In this case, when you create an appointment for them, Tanya, just do not attach a service to that appointment. An invoice is only created when you attach a service to an appointment. So when you create an appointment, you add a client and you just save, and you have an appointment. It can send a reminder, but without a service, there is no an invoice on that appointment. And that's it. Okay, Belinda, when you say it can differentiate NDIS clients to receive the email, does Zanda know how to differentiate between plan managed and self-managed, or is there a way to set that up? Well, for that, it's up to you how you do that. So for that, you can set up, for example, classifications. This is a custom setting. You can set those up, and the classifications you can use them as conditions for your automation, or let's go to profile, or you can use those, add them as status, or you can use them as a client type. So these 3 settings, I would recommend using one of them, but it depends how you set up your account and how you use those 3 settings. But add self-managed or plan managed in one of those, and you will be able to use them to set up those automations. Okay. If you, Cassandra, Cassie, if you have an invoice set up to go to the child's parent or an NDIS plan manager, how do you get the parent's plan manager name to appear on the email instead of the child's name? Okay, if a parent or the plan manager is the payer, their name will appear on the invoice to section of the email, and then the child's name will be in the provided to section of the email. So once you set up in the billing setup, so when the bill to is a self, let me add, for example, if I set up, I need to add one. Okay, third party, for example, Jane Smith, business name, NDIS plan. I know she should be different, but anyway, plan management. Okay. Okay, so this is our third party. Let's go back to Mary. Let's go back to billing setup. All right, now we can bill all Mary's invoices to this plan manager. Right? And when now we create an invoice for Mary, and an appointment with an invoice for Mary, the invoice to will be to Jane Smith and their plan management, and provided to as a client will be to Mary Lee. This will be the setup. It will work the same if you select the contact, the parent in the bill to. Again, the parent's details will be in the invoice to, and the child detail will be in the provided to as a client. Okay. Let me scroll up to other questions. Can they okay, Belinda, this was your question you asked when you registered for this workshop. Can the automated receipts be a prompt rather than automated? We don't want clients that we write off invoices for to get a receipt. Excellent question, and thank you for asking that one. Again, what you can do depends on how you set up the workflows. If you write off this receipt and you don't want to work with this client anymore until they settle this receipt when they come back, or what you can do, for example, you can create a classification for write-off invoices, right? And assign this to your client until they show up next time, and you write off their invoices. So next time, when you set up your receipt automations in the classification, you select all the classifications, all the clients you want to send the receipt, and you leave out the write-off invoice classification. So these clients will not receive those receipts. This is one option. Or if when you write off the invoice, and you can select a service that you created, consultation write-off, for example. I named it this way. And you can select all the services that can receive the receipts, and you do not select the write-off. This is another way. So these are my ideas how you can do that. I don't know if they will work for your workflow, but these are the ideas that I could come up with. Or the write-off can be, or for example, if you close you wrote off their invoices and you close the client profile, you don't work with them anymore. So you can, for example, only send the receipts to active clients, and you mark that client profile as closed, and you don't send the receipts to them anymore. So somehow mark that client profile that you're not working with them at this stage. Oh, those are great ideas. Thank you. Thank you, Belinda. I hope that, you'll be able to work with this automation this way. Okay, Lorraine, automations to fill in cancellations. We had a workshop about the wait list. And I highly recommend that you watch it. It's not long, it's 25 minutes. So please have a look. It was actually the previous workshop that we had. Merrick, how to get clients to be able to book their own sessions. We had an awesome workshop about the client portal. Keep clients interested. This is our next workshop about the automations for post-appointment and for the recall. Please register. And automation invoices with my business logo. And I saw a question about the business logo that is too large. So awesome questions. Let's have a look about how to manage your business logo. For that, let us go to Practice Business Info. This is where you upload the logo for documents. So they will show on all your invoices when you send them as a PDF, when you print them. And they will also show on the other printed documents, on your session notes, on the printed forms, and on the statements. So the recommended widths, the question where it's too big, please try, when you're resizing them, please try to enter the recommended width is 940 pixels wide, and that should work. Like, this is the maximum width to fit in the A4 page. But if this doesn't work, please email to our support. Use the email support@zandahealth.com. And you can even attach your logo file, and the guys in support will try to help you resize and so that it works well. All right, so this is where you manage your logo for all your invoices and other documents that you print. Sending out my custom consent form. Deb, we also had an awesome workshop. I think it's the most popular on YouTube at the moment, about the intake automations. Please watch it, and it's super helpful. But you can use the pre-appointment and the new client automations for that. Crystal, Medicare rebates, are they able to be automated as well? I don't. What do you mean by automated? That's my question. We are integrated with Medicare. You can send bulk bills or patient claims through the panel here, or you can prepare them through the day and send as a batch at the end of the day. So this is one thing. You can automate allocation of bulk bill payments and DVA payments, that's for sure, if you can call that automation. Please let me know if you have a more specific question for me. But yeah, if you mean automation, if you process a payment and everything else happens on its own, then probably not. Okay. Tanya, segmenting automations to private customers who pay deposits, balance reminders versus not sending auto invoices to NDIS insurance clients. I think I hope I was able to explain it well. This is how, right, you can select different client types or statuses and different services and so on, so that they're not sending to your NDIS clients. Rob, use of different email templates depending on how overdue an invoice is. I hope we covered that by setting up different days after the invoice is due. Ways to ensure invoices are not changed to show confidential information. For example, some of our invoices are de-identified when created. However, if they change referral type later and those invoices are not de-identified, earlier invoices that were de-identified have become identified. I actually saw your question, Rob, because you submitted before and I tested and I couldn't make it happen as you said. What happened to me, the invoices that were de-identified, and then I changed this setting on the client profile and I created new invoices. The new invoices became identified, but the old invoices stayed de-identified. Unless it was something different earlier and now it's working properly, I'm not sure. But if you have issues, Rob, please reach out to support and we will look into this. But the current experience, when you toggle on or off the de-identify on the client profile, the existing invoices are not updated. They stay the same as they were. So this change doesn't apply automatically. And I think that's a good thing, right? You don't want to have this sort of updated, as you said, yeah, because the older invoices or the invoices that were created before the client treatment plan has been changed, they probably should stay the same. And yeah, how the overdue invoice, different email templates for overdue invoices, I think we've covered that. Robin, invoice processing via a bulk system if possible, where client credit card details are stored. Well, you can't trigger, in Zanda you cannot trigger bulk processing of payments if clients have their credit card details stored in their profile. You still sort of have to go through each invoice and initiate payment if clients have credit cards stored on them. Effectively managing invoice reminders after having tried to process payments again when credit cards are not stored. Well, in that case, yeah, you'd use the unpaid invoices automation to remind the clients that they have an unpaid invoice and sending them that invoice to pay. What options are applicable in this same area for managing invoicing process and follow-ups for direct deposit clients and NDIS plan managed, please? Well, again, yeah, the unpaid invoicing automation would be the case in this situation. And we also have the automated manual statement generation and sending for NDIS plan management. That would be helpful too. And don't set up and forget. I think that's what we want to achieve here, but understand limitations. Well, I hope that you have a clearer picture at the moment. If we set up, Norma, if we set up the invoice automations reminder, is there a way to only send the reminder to clients who have outstanding invoices and not to those who have already paid? Well, exactly, yeah. If the invoice is paid, the reminder won't go out. Okay, anything else? So I just went through the backlog of the questions that were submitted before the workshop. Okay, John has a new question. Just to confirm, I should set up the parent as the contact and then also the bill too. Yes. Then in the automation, use recipient preferred name in the automation email. Yes. I also need to send the client portal link to the parent, not the child. Yes. client portal link for the parent, not the child, so that the parent will be able to book for the child. The child should be registered on the portal, and the parent should be registered for the portal. So send 2 links, one to the child, one to the parent. And once they both register, when the parent logs in, they will be able to select who they book for. That's how it works. How can Graziella, or Graziella, I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing correctly, how can we set up a recurring appointment, including the resources? We use it for room allocations. That's a little bit out of our topic, but you book the initial appointment, link the resource, and then you recur it. And when you set up the recurring settings, you need to toggle on the special switch for the resource. That's how you do that. Where we can find the other workshop videos. The other workshop videos, they live on our YouTube channel, Zanda Health YouTube channel. They live in our knowledge base. Okay, you know what I'll do? I know it's a bit, I don't want you to waste your time looking for them. What I'll do, I will add the link to the email that you will receive after this workshop with the replay for this workshop. I will just add the link to the knowledge base article so that you will have the links to register for the next workshop, but also you can watch the replay of the past workshops. That's what I'll do. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again soon in our workshop about, I had a very smart name for it. I forgot it now, but it's keeping client interested, engaged, and coming back with our post-appointment and recall automations. So I hope to see you there, and I hope you all have a good day. I'll see you again.